Okay, today we're going to talk about theories of motivation. And the first theory I'd like to talk about is one that you've seen before. This is Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow conducted one of the best known studies of human needs in 1962, and he concluded that every human has 5 basic needs, and he assembled this into a hierarchy. At the base of the hierarchy are physiological needs: air, food, water, sleep, shelter, and even sex. It is mandatory that at least, of course, air and food and water and sleep be satisfied, because then a person cannot function or proceed to the next level. And it's important to point out that some segments of the world's population today may live their entire lives just trying to satisfy this level of needs. And so because of this, it stands to reason that they're not going to have the opportunity to move up to that highest level of self-fulfillment or self-actualization. And here you can see some of the various different types of needs that Maslow talks about. This does have implications for criminal justice managers, and the goal is to use the needs hierarchy to visualize the needs people have and to assess these needs relative to their importance in motivating individuals. And so this can result in managers structuring work situations and reward systems such that employees are motivated to perform well, because good work performance leads to the satisfaction of their needs. Having said this, it is important for managers to treat everyone equally and the same, and when you're doing that, I think that the trade-off is that you may not be able to apply this theory as much as you would like. So it is a very special person that's able to identify where someone is on that hierarchy and then to reward them in a way that's not going to cause perceptions of fairness or unequal treatment, because we know that can lead into a whole other set of problems. Still, I think Maslow's theory does offer some interesting tips to the criminal justice manager. The next person I want to talk about is Frederick Herzberg. And Frederick Herzberg, in a lot of ways, was influenced by Maslow. He was a behavioral psychologist, and he developed the 2-factor theory, or the hygiene motivator theory. And his theory divides needs that require satisfaction through work into 2 classes: hygiene factors and motivator factors. And dissatisfaction and satisfaction are not 2 ends of a continuum, according to Herzberg, because people can experience a lack of dissatisfaction without necessarily being satisfied. Intangible rewards pertaining basically to the hygiene factors do not provide satisfaction. They simply prevent dissatisfaction. So if you have criminal justice personnel who perform only because they are not dissatisfied, this is very, very seldom conducive to high performance. And so providing more tangible rewards like money, things like that, that's highly unlikely to accomplish better results and to have employees stay motivated. I believe the hygiene factors are similar to Maslow's lower level needs. People assume these factors will be met. If they're not met, the people will be dissatisfied. Company policies, job security, supervision, a basic salary, these are all extrinsic factors that do not necessarily motivate people in and of themselves, because these are largely expected by anyone that goes into any kind of employment. So those are the hygiene factors. What Herzberg says that managers need to do is to concentrate on motivation factors, and these are elements intrinsic in the job that promote job performance. Many employees believe that satisfying work is more important than increased salary and even advancement. There have been many social science studies that have found this. I myself have done research with correctional officers and have found this to a smaller degree, but still it's something I did come across. And a lot of the times when you talk to individuals that are in law enforcement, they will tell you they do it because they find this to be meaningful and satisfying work, and they like serving the community. They are not in it for the money. And so I really believe that Hertzberg's theory lends itself very well to law enforcement in particular. And so I think that managers can consider the two various types of factors, concentrating probably on the motivational factors. And here you can see that I've listed just some examples of both, and the list goes on. This is not necessarily an exhaustive list at all. The next guy that I want to talk about is Victor Vroom, who's at Yale. He created expectancy theory. And expectancy theory looks at the options that employees have on the job. And it combines some features of the preceding theories we talked about, and it also advances ideas that employees believe good work on the job will lead to high performance, and that high performance will lead to good results. And people will do what is in their best interest, according to expectancy theory. Workers must see the linkages between increased effort and improved performance, and between that performance and desired and valued reward, according to Vroom. The expectancy theory says that individuals have different set of goals and can be motivated if they believe that there is a positive correlation between efforts and performance, favorable performance that will result in a desirable reward, and the reward will satisfy an important need. And the desire to satisfy that need is strong enough to make the effort worthwhile. So if you have, for example, a student, and that student knows that by studying 10 hours they can get an A on the test. Well, if the 10 hours is looked at too much of a burden, and they're happy with studying maybe an hour and getting a C, Victor Vroom's theory would make sense, because the conditions do not exist for that student to be properly motivated. And so we can expect for him not to put in the effort to make that A or that B. Expectancy theory is very interesting. I think it lends itself to criminal justice very well, because it assesses an individual's personal strengths and how they see themselves. And assuming all other things are equal, an employee will be motivated to try a task if he or she believes that it can be done. And they can look at this on a scale of 0 to 1 or 1 to 10. And however likely they believe that they are capable of doing something, well, then we can probably expect this to happen. Employers have an effort expectancy and a performance expectancy. And if managers clearly define the tasks and help employees with the direction and skill training to perform the job, it's likely that the effort expectancy will rise. And so managers can help achieve performance expectancy by providing a means of satisfying these individual needs. Again, though, we are talking about a very special person that's in this managerial role, because there are all of these expectations to keep things equal, not to play favorites, and also with all of the other types of paperwork and activities that you have to do as a manager, you have now this added responsibility of being able to identify in people certain needs and then to help them fulfill this. This is very, very easier said than done, because managers under expectancy theory are going to have to know what opportunities specific jobs offer before they can use these as motivational opportunities for employees. And these might be money, this could be education for opportunities for education either within the organization or external to the organization, or it could just be praise. Praise goes a really long way in motivating employees, as long as the praise is heartfelt and genuine. If it's not, that could actually hurt the manager more than help the manager. But expectancy theory is important because it really does integrate ideas about employee motivation. A number of factors can contribute to an employee's expectancy perceptions, like the level of confidence in the skills required for the task, the amount of support that may be expected from superiors and subordinates, the quality of the materials and the equipment that he has, and the ability of pertinent information, and then previous success at the task has also been shown to strengthen expectancy beliefs. Equity theory is another very interesting theory that builds on Maslow's hierarchy of needs and Hertzberg's two-factor theory. Under equity theory, this calls for a fair balance to be struck between an employee's inputs, like his hard work, skill level, tolerance, enthusiasm, and an employee's outputs, salaries, benefits, and so forth. According to the theory, finding this fair balance serves to ensure a strong and productive relationships achieved with the employee, with the overall result being contented, motivated employees. And this really does explain how people strive for fairness in the workplace, demonstrates how employees make ratio comparisons of their outputs relative to others, and if they see that they are not getting the same return, this could demotivate them. Here's a humorous little drawing you can see where the person doesn't think they're getting the same thing as their coworker, and so it's going to cause him to be discontented, and it could actually be a demotivating factor when he feels that he's being treated unfairly. Types of inequality could be feeling that you're underpaid. That person might ask for a raise, he could lower his output, absenteeism could improve, or he becomes complacent and indifferent to the organization. Positive or overpayment inequity could be you ignore the overpayment, you seek to justify the overpayment by working harder, or you attempt to maintain the overpayment. Those are all very, very interesting types of scenarios. As far as supervisors in equity theory, this provides another explanation for how perceptions and beliefs about what is fair influence job performance, and it acquaints managers with the disasters that can occur when rewards are misaligned with performance. So I would say to be very, very careful when you're the manager and make sure that you are evaluating your employees carefully and honestly. That's very, very important. Effective supervisors must be vigilant for signs of unfairness and immediately address these equity concerns. And that's easier said than done. I do know that. We've talked about theory X and Y, so I'm not going to go into this too much. The book does a good job, the chapter I let you read, I should say, does a good job of going over it again. Just to sum things up, I will talk about some of the approaches for maintaining positive employment. Make sure that the employees learn how well they're doing in performing their jobs. Give them fair evaluations, of course. Make sure that they know the task and that they feel as though they're part of the team, and that they receive feedback, and they have a sense of autonomy. Again, this can be difficult in criminal justice. And rotating employees in different jobs. That can help switch up the monotony, make them feel enriched. And then participative management. Give employees the authority and responsibility to accomplish organizational objectives. That's really about it. Thanks for listening to the lecture, and we will talk to you soon.